Hello everyone, welcome to First 11. My name is Chris and I'm thrilled to be joined today by Callum and Craig. Callum is the founder of SAF, which is a very exciting FIFA community and team, and Craig works alongside Callum. So thank you very much for joining me.
It's good to be here. Yeah, looking forward to this.
Very cool. So I'm absolutely thrilled because we've been working behind the scenes to collaborate to deliver some exciting, fun challenges across what we hope will be a really cool kind of product, offering something different to kind of gamers. But I think before we go into that and explain kind of a bit more about First 11, I'd love to find out more about SAF, how you got into FIFA and kind of this amazing journey you're on at the moment.
Yeah, well, it's been quite an adventure, to be honest with you. It's basically a hobby that's got out of control. So I started writing player reviews back in sort of 2017, 2018. I used to post them online and they were sort of half essays. And I got like a small following from it. There's sort of 10, 15 regular people. And I thought, oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, maybe we'll expand on that. We set up a Facebook page. That did quite well. Then a Facebook group. That did well. We've moved on to Twitter, Instagram, and we've just been slowly expanding everything that we offer. So I've gone from writing reviews to starting to stream. We have a streamer content team. We have an esports team. And it's gone from writing reviews to having this incredible organisation now within FIFA. So I'm quite excited about it.
So like the love affair with FIFA, I mean, when did that start? Has that always been the go-to game? Like,
no, probably since, in fact, I remember the first ever football game I played was the Euro Championship 2000, I think it was. Was it Euro 2000? Yeah, it was Euro 2000. And I remember distinctly, you used to be able to play with England. You'd get Michael Owen onto the edge of the area. You'd run at a certain angle and you were guaranteed to score against any computer opposition. It was amazing. So as soon as I could do that, I was like, right, I'm hooked. That's it. And I've been playing football games ever since. I'd probably say we got into Ultimate Team and FIFA quite seriously. See what I did there? Probably from about 2012 onwards. So,
right, okay.
Yeah, it's been a long-standing affair.
Because it was like, for me, the mantle was FIFA. Like back in the day when I was playing, it was like FIFA 98 Road to World Cup. And then before that, it was like FIFA 96 was pretty cool with the little stars and they ran around Then it was PES for a while. And then FIFA just sort of rose to dominance again. Like, so it feels like...
Yeah, there was sort of the glory age of PES, wasn't there, for a little bit?
Definitely. About 2 or 3 seasons long. It's I'm actually FIFA 94.
Yeah, you're showing your age, Craig.
Exactly. Yeah, FIFA 94 from the start. And the best thing about that game was if you fouled somebody and the referee tried to give you a red card, you could run away from him. That was probably the best thing in the game.
So
yes.
I mean, FIFA now is like so complex compared to those days. So I know you guys have a Discord where you offer a lot of advice and tips because, I mean, I would classify myself as like a casual gamer. So like kind of going in, downloading like the new FIFA, there's just so much to it now. It's like so many different modes and different things. And I mean, FIFA Ultimate Team, I've not even tried to scratch the surface. So is that something that your community often come to you guys for? Is that sort of expertise and really you guys go deep into these games like every season?
Yeah, definitely. I think so. I help to manage the Discord, and again that sort of came from the Facebook page, and initially offering a few trading tips to help people make coins on FIFA. Over the last couple of years, that's grown into the largest trading Discord, paid trading Discord in the world. But we also offer quite a lot of other things. So squad building, tactics. And the cool thing is that some of our pro team jump in there as well and help the guys, get better at playing the game itself. Any sort of SBCs and squad building challenges that come out, we offer the guys, the quickest and cheapest ways to do those. And yeah, it's all underpinned by making people loads of coins within FIFA as well. But I think the best thing about it, which I joined as a member about 14 months ago, for me, it was the community, sort of how helpful everybody was. There's no toxicity. Everybody gets on and everybody helps each other, which is really refreshing. So yeah, it's a great community we've got there.
How do you find like the FIFA community generally? Is it sort of quite tribal, or what's the vibe like? Because certain games have got quite there are a lot of trolls. Like I found that with Counter-Strike, there's a lot of trolls and a lot of hate.
There is, yeah. I think it's the same as any gaming community. Yeah. There is a lot of toxicity out there. Even within the content creators themselves, they will do whatever it takes to get one up on each other at times. But we've kind of tried to block as much of that out as possible by managing the community ourselves quite intensely. So we try to avoid drama where we can. But it's one of those things, I think, with any game. There's always going to be some sort of trolls out there, unfortunately.
Yeah. Sorry, Craig.
I was going to say, I think because it's football as well. I mean, anybody that follows a football team, I think it just makes it that much more emotive. Sometimes people, your ultimate team is your team, and I think that really comes through in the way that people play the game sometimes, and the way that they react. So, yeah, but I think that's a great thing that we've done is, we like to, make people better at the game and make coins. But the number one thing that we always do is do it with sort of a fun element, which I know it will fit in great with First 11 as well.
Yeah, for sure. With First 11, I think we could talk about that a bit later because we've got a really cool program of stuff lined up. Before I do, the esports world around FIFA sort of fascinates me at the moment because I noticed it was the E World League, and there's a lot of like the E Premier League, and there's some sort of tentpole events and stuff. And I know that a couple of the guys within your community are playing and competing in different areas. So it'd be cool to learn a bit more about that. And what's that sort of competitive scene like in FIFA in 2020?
Yeah, I think I can feel EA are sort of moving their focus towards the esports side of the game as such. So, this year they've completely revamped the rewards. So there's more people than ever can qualify to take part in some of these esports events, which is awesome. You've also got people that are actually just partaking and watching it. They're now guaranteed prizes just for watching the streams, which, I think to encourage people over to watch it is brilliant. I think compared to last year, I think this edition of FIFA is probably slightly more exciting to watch because it's played in a slightly faster way. There's more goals involved. It's harder to defend, so there's a lot more action involved. And I think that's really grabbing people's attention. Now, within our own esports team, we've got some brilliant players. We've been quite lucky with who we've signed, and they are smashing things at the moment. But until we get to like the first major event, we don't really know how everything's going to work yet. Obviously, we're quite hopeful that we're going to do really, really well this year. But it's looking promising. We had the number one Xbox player in the world for Foot Champs for the whole of October, which is fantastic. We also have the number 4, I think, on Xbox and the number 5 on PlayStation. So in terms of our team, you've got SAF all over at the moment, all over the leaderboards, which is awesome. So we're quite not confident going into these events, but hopeful.
Yeah, absolutely. So the next big one on the calendar is the big global thing, right? There's the global series.
It is. So one of the global series, we've got a qualification event, I think sometime in November, one of the weekend leagues. So these guys will have to go out most of their weekend to take part in it. It's slightly different this year because it's being played online.
Yeah.
Which is a first, which means the pro players have all got to stream the games as well, which is a little bit different for them.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them aren't used to necessarily streaming all their games. So that's a slightly different element to it, part of it. But the way these events are working is actually, it's almost like a straight knockout with the 1,000 top players in each console will be fighting it out to try and make the final 32, and it's within that final 32 things really heat up and get interesting.
So are you primarily on Xbox or PlayStation? Because I know there was like you need to flip a coin, right, when you get to the final.
A little bit. Well, personally, I'm on PlayStation. I've always been PlayStation.
Right.
What about yourself, Chris?
I actually have I've got PlayStation, but I have a PC, and one of my bugbears is that there's no crossplay in some of these games. So I would love to be able to play on my PC, obviously, because now sort of moving into the gaming entertainment space, it's much more handy to be doing it on a PC. But no, it's
yeah. So you're on the better console, but you've also got the PC. Which is
I've got a PC,
anyway.
So it's cool. I think I'm very excited about the PS5. The Xbox looks cool. I think this is a really cool time to be into video games. I mean, I think it's just gone up a whole nother gear, and I think with or without the sort of Corona, it was always going to be a big year for gaming, but it's just gone to a whole new level.
It has. It's absolutely exploded. Yeah, really, really has.
It's 5 days until my Xbox arrives. So.
Oh, really?
Not that you're counting down, are you, mate?
I'm the odd one out. Yeah, I'm an Xbox guy.
So I can talk about First 11. I think we're delighted to be working with you guys. I think what was interesting is seeing a lot of your sort of creators, yourself included, that even though you guys are called sort of serious, Saf, that there's a really nice, approachable kind of fun tone in a lot of the different creators with like the Commoner, yourself, people that we've been sort of watching. So I think with First 11, it's quite nice to collaborate with you to design challenges that aren't necessarily always about elite competition. You can actually have a lighter tone and a bit more fun with the sort of FIFA. So, I mean, what's your perspective on that? Because we're really excited to work with you guys on that.
Yeah, well, exactly. I think the top end of FIFA is accessible to a few individuals. Let's be quite honest about it.
Yeah.
The majority of people, including myself, I say we're serious, but we're actually we're average players in the grand schemes of things. So, the idea that we can mix it up with a little bit of fun and a different twist to things, it's not necessarily just about the gameplay.
Yeah.
It'd be really quite exciting. I think we could come up with some really fun challenges with that.
Yeah.
So, get as many, because I don't think it's necessarily about getting one or two people, the top players involved. I think it's about getting the community involved and making them feel part of something slightly bigger as well, which to me is exciting. And then to have the platform with First 11 to develop that, that's awesome. That's everything we could possibly want as a streamer.
Yeah, and I think where we're really excited is because you have that community grounding. We're going to be working obviously with people from outside of the FIFA community, which include pro athletes and soccer stars and whatnot. So it's nice that they can come into an environment that you guys are there to co-create and design some of the nice sort of environments that they can come into that hopefully won't be too toxic, but I think it'll be a lot of fun.
Definitely.
And so just the key guys I know that within the team that you would say it'd be good to go through those guys. So I know I watched we sort of did a bit of a beta test with the Virtual Freshers Festival. So it was cool to watch the Commoner, and I know he's pretty handy with the Macarena, but obviously there's him.
He's also got handstands as well, which is amazing. I didn't even know he did that myself. So watching him do a handstand live on the stream, I was thinking, oh wow,
that's pretty impressive. Yeah, that's very cool. So I mean, how do people get involved with SAF? Do they just reach out to you? Or like what's the sort of
So we sort of represent ourselves across social media. So we've got a big Facebook group, which is sort of the community side. So people can join the group, they can post their teams, they can talk about things. They can ask questions as well, because there's a lot about FIFA that people don't they don't understand everything about FIFA, and people will have questions, and some of these questions we see hundreds of times, but we're always there to help. We try to help as many people as we can with it. But then through the streams, I mean, just by watching and interacting with the streamers, it's amazing how many of the same faces you see time and time again, because they've come through the community. They then come to the streams, and then we develop from there. So you almost build up sort of long-term friends with it as well. So
I think when you look at our team as well, we have kind of a core team of guys that do all the sort of business elements. But in our Discord and our Facebook groups, we've probably got around about 70 staff now. Wow. A lot of them are volunteers. And when you actually figure out, where these guys are from, we're from all walks of life, all different countries, but we've all come together through FIFA. So, and I think, that's kind of expands into our community quite a lot. So it's really cool the way that I think that's happened. And
it's kind of, would you say it's like truly global? Because I know you've got guys in loads of different territories. I know FIFA Chef is in Toronto, right? So
yeah, well, exactly. Well, I think looking at our group the other day, we've got 112 different countries.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, really quite worldwide.
And I think, would you say like Europe is the biggest territory for FIFA? Just obviously where the football like synergy is, or is it? Would I be wrong about that? I mean, what would you say is like the hottest area?
I would say so. Probably our base as such, our most popular place is probably from within Europe. What we have noticed as well, though, is that places like America, they're really coming along. You're seeing a lot more Americans getting into FIFA, and they're quite often it's quite a new thing to them, because obviously the MLS over there is sort of taking off and going through its growth stages as we speak. But they're trialing FIFA and they're really getting into it, and they're quite keen. We're also seeing people come across from South America. Mm-hmm. So I saw they've got big followings over in South America. They love their football, don't they?
Oh,
they're
yeah.
absolutely obsessed by it. But we're now finding that online, and they're equally as passionate online as well. So we've got some people interacting from there as well, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've got some interesting guests from South America, so we're looking forward to bringing them in. It's going to be very fun.
Yeah.
So I think we're just really thrilled. I know, Craig, on your angle, you very much sort of helping Callum on the grassroots side. I know you're looking at working with, like, obviously the university angle was really exciting. So that was the virtual Freshers Festival, which was like none of the students could actually go out and have a good time. So there was a whole program of events. So tell us a bit about that, and I know just like how you working with the grassroots side, to work with SAF and try and sort of spread the love of FIFA amongst the sort of from the ground up.
I think it comes on quite a few different angles, really. So there's probably a lot of guys out there that want to stream or maybe want to get into it. There's probably some really, really cool and really good FIFA players out there that haven't been discovered yet either. So one thing that we put a lot of time and effort into is, not just sort of finding these guys or asking them to reach out to us, by putting together things with colleges, universities. The hope is that we'll be able to help some of these guys further their career. So I'm currently working with a college in one in England and one in Wales, and kind of mentoring a few of the students there to help them with their business studies. They want to get into universities. We do quite a lot of stuff at a grassroots level. A lot of our pro team were fairly unheard of before we signed them. A good example of that is Kyle Hammond, who only signed pro quite recently and made the E-Premier League final last year. And I think when we found the commoner, I think he had about 40 Twitter followers. And now the guy is doing absolutely awesome. So we really want to sort of tap into that. And I think that's a great angle to get people into our community and show that we don't just work with people that have already got 500,000 followers and have, we give people a chance. If we see potential, then we'll help them along. So it's a really great part of what we do.
Really exciting. And the other thing I was going to ask about is how do you get your kit in the game? Because I know that there was an option to try and get your kit, because your kit looks amazing, by the way. It looks really cool, like the designs and stuff. So
I really wish I was wearing it right now, to be fair. I suddenly thought about that. I'm wearing the wrong shirt. This is the EA shirt. So it's all done through EA. So we've applied to have it in the game. They asked us to try and promote getting it into the game recently, and we did ever so well. We got like 50,000 views or something like that on our Twitter account, which is amazing. I think we've certainly got the community behind us, because we're quite, I think we're looked upon quite well within the community as it is. Hopefully we'll hear more of that in the near future. I think probably in the next sort of month or two we'll hear a little bit more, and then we can go from there. So that'd be really exciting, though.
I think that's cool. It's just an interesting movement that you're starting to see this kind of the more community teams and the esports teams sort of becoming available in the game. So, like, who is like the best FIFA player in the world right now? Would you say there's a top one or two players that are?
There's two players that I really like to look at. So you've got your Tex.
Yeah.
Tex is well known as probably being the best player naturally. You've got MS Dossary as well. He's a phenomenal player. He's always there near the top. This year, though, with any new FIFA that comes out, you always get some new guy that comes onto the scene. And there's a I forget his name now, but he's playing for the Red Bull team in Germany, and he's only 14.
Okay,
he's 14 years old. So it just shows you how young you can get into it.
Yeah.
But he is already undefeated in Weekend League, and he is embarrassing some of these top end pro players. So I think he might have a massive future within the scene. But some of the players at the moment, Dragon is the number one Xbox player. He's our player, so that's awesome. So we think he'll do well. But until we really have some of these major pro head-to-head tournaments, we don't know yet. It's like all sort of speculation.
How do you become like sort of Yoda like at FIFA? Because it is like you must have to sort of like have because I've tried to play and it's like I'm only really thinking, oh, there's a guy there, just pass the ball, blah blah blah. I mean, when you're really really good, is it you sort of like thinking like
ahead.
The Matrix?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean,
you're asking the wrong person. I'm going to listen keenly to this answer.
Okay, yeah, Craig's taking notes at this point.
Or do you just bash the buttons? That's what I see.
Yeah, pretty much. Just hope. But I mean, in some ways, it can be a little bit like chess at the top end of FIFA. it's all about the mental side of the game and understanding your opponent as much as it is to your own ability. So if you can work out what your opponent is going to do and you can foresee passes and where players are going to move to, then you're ahead in the game anyway. Because a lot of the average player, they'll sit there and they'll play the pass that's available, and they might be able to do a couple of tricks and turns and stuff, but they won't understand exactly what the opponent's game is. And that's the difference at the top end. They'll have some of the skills. Some of these players are phenomenally skilled. They can do all the buttons, they can do 4 tricks in a row, no problem at all. But they combine that with having the mental understanding of the game, where the players are going to be, understanding where the runs are going to be as well. And a lot of that comes from not only playing FIFA for many years, but practicing. And they practice certain scenarios. So one of our players is a great example of this. Player we've got called Christian Spiteri, who's phenomenal. He's number 5 in the world on PlayStation. But what he does is he practices certain scenarios every single day against players that are of a similar level. And he just goes, right, let's try and play this scenario. Right, okay, this worked really well. This didn't work so well. What can we improve on? And it's this constant sort of trying to adapt to the best of your ability. So people don't see a lot of the work that these pro players put in, but they are playing hundreds upon hundreds of games every single week.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, and then like within that sort of competitive, with competitive scene, FIFA Ultimate Team, because looking at it from an outside perspective, I would look at sort of creators like not so much you guys, but is it Castro and like the big ones, and they're just always going mental, like reacting to, oh my god, I won this guy, or blah 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 blah. So how does that work? Because it's just people just losing their rag about sort of what effectively looks like opening a pack of cards. Like what's the deal with that?
I mean, you'd have thought after sort of 10 years they might have not getting so excited anymore, but they obviously love it. So
no, but is that because the players are kind of like, they obviously, when you have the player within the FIFA Ultimate Team, so how much of that comes into being competitive, right? If you're a really good player, can you actually just sort of like, you know what, it doesn't really matter, I can have an average team, or do you need to have like the best FIFA Ultimate Team like players?
I think the guys in the tournaments tend to have what is regarded as the meta team.
Yeah.
And out of those 11 players, if you watch maybe a last 32 tournament, out of those 11 players in each person's team, I think a maximum of 2 or 3 of them might be different in that team.
Yeah.
But how good these guys actually are, I've seen some YouTube videos of guys going, winning 28, 29, even 30 out of 30 weekend league games with a silver squad,
right,
which is like 70 rated. And these guys who are playing the tournaments, these squads are really high rated, really expensive cards. So I think a lot of it comes down to skill level. But at tournaments and major events, there's some good teams on view normally.
Definitely. Well, I think when you get to the tournament level, because there's such fine margins between some of these top level players that it comes down to the team a lot of the time, because they're all on a level playing field. If they don't have a team that's up to scratch to compete with those top end pros, then that's the thing that's going to let them down. But against the average player during weekend league, most of these pros will, you can have the best team in the world yourself, but if you come up against a top end pro player, he can have any team in the world and he'll still beat you. It's all down to skill at that point.
Oh yeah.
But having a really good team does help you compete towards the top, but you'll never make an event. You'll never make an event without having that skill as well.
There's one big thing in the FIFA scene as well with cards, and we call it the power curve. And pretty much when the game first lands, everybody has what are classed as gold cards, but then as the game progresses, new special powered cards come out with better statistics, and the power curve switch sort of changes gradually. And I think the most noticeable part of that is definitely around Team of the Year in January. That's usually when I feel like my team needs to be sold and start again.
Well, that's the thing. There's no sort of like carrying over, right? So when it's a new season, it's like a clean slate. Right. So you've got to start from scratch again, right? So that's kind of must be frustrating.
My partner doesn't get this. So she says, okay, so you've played this game for 12 months. And now all of these hours playing the game, trading, helping all these guys, now it all gets deleted. And I'm like, yeah, that's amazing, right? We get to start again. And she's like, no, that's not amazing. But for me, having a month off FIFA and not having the web app, and then that sort of in between time, that's one of my favorite times. The hype before the new game, and then when the new game launches, it's great.
I saw EA sort of doing some fun stuff with some of the players, right? So they reveal the stats to the players, like you see that, and then they were like, it was kind of who's. They were like, am I actually this slow, or is this guy quicker than me? I mean, with First 11, we got some really cool athletes and soccer stars and stuff. So, I mean, the vibe I'm getting, because I know we spoke, is that a lot of them play a lot of FIFA in the downtime, right? So they must be quite good. So we're hoping
they're playing with themselves, aren't they?
Yeah. But I mean, have you sort of observed any of that? Because there's been sort of some events. You've had like I think at the beginning of lockdown they had some sort of Premier League thing where they had a couple of guys on there. I mean, some of them seem to be pretty handy with FIFA. Yeah,
definitely. So my local team, Norwich, obviously they're in the Premier League this year. They're not so much anymore. But last year they had Todd Cantwell. Now, I class myself as a decent player. I played against Todd Cantwell, got very lucky to play against him. And he's a very good player as well because he plays a lot of FIFA. And he was representing Norwich at some of these events. So they're as good on the pitch as they are in the game. I think a big part of that will obviously come down to their sort of footballing understanding. But that obviously helps them out a bit. But it's pretty cool to see them, playing as well in the game.
So I think one of the things I'm really excited about is that we can pick people at random, right? So we're going to be playing and creating challenges. You've got your amazing team of creators and pros, and then we can pluck people at random into sort of really interesting sort of scenarios. So I know that we're looking to start in the coming days, but it's going to be really exciting to work with you guys to listen to what you guys want to create and see if we can help sort of deliver that and bring people in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's exciting.
So thank you. I mean, I'm just really thrilled we're working together. I'm, it's so cool to be working with you guys, obviously based in the UK. We're based here, but we're also looking to do stuff in Brazil. But it's been great behind the scenes working with you guys, and we're stoked to sort of start, getting it out there.
Yeah, it's going to be brilliant. I'm really excited for it. I know the content creators team, they can't wait to get involved as well. So, we're going to have a lot of fun. Definitely going to have a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate it. And all the best, yeah? Take care.
Lovely. Yeah. Cheers, Chris. Same to you, mate.
Bye-bye.
Cheers, guys.
Bye for now.